Welcome, boys and girls, excuse me, to a brand new stream. Now, I had to go live today because you guys are probably witnessing a massive shit show in the crypto markets. Some of you are probably panicking, and some of you are probably thinking, the cycle's over, or, or the bull run's done. Is quite nerve-wracking just because the Bitcoin chart does not look the best and is continuously going down. But on a positive note, even though Bitcoin is down 4-5%, total free has not really budged too much. And I think most of the non-believers, most of the retail investors, the JITers, whatever you want to call them, a majority of them has, I think they've capitulated already and they have left. And that's why if you're looking at your altcoins and you've noticed that a majority of them are not moving, no one's really selling, is because all the people that did sell, they've already got out and if they're sold. So, I do think the cycle lows are going to be in within the next 1 to 2 days. A lot of people are saying it's the end of the bull run. I mean, in reality, the only way this could be the end of the bull run is if we go into a left translated cycle. And for that to happen, what we would need Bitcoin to come down in this range over here. So let's say below 73K. And maybe it comes down to 74 or 68K or 62K. And a lot of people will be like, I don't mind if Bitcoin goes there because we get cheaper Bitcoin. But in reality, if Bitcoin comes down to, below 73K, maybe to the 70s and bounces up here and gets rejected off the 73K region, and then it's quite possible that the cycle lows are in. Now, obviously, we have a long way to go, at 84K all the way down to 73. And Bitcoin's kind of holding this level at the moment. But, ideally what we want is we want Bitcoin to hold above 80K because, if you notice every single time Bitcoin has pumped, it's been approximately between 90 to 110%. So let's say from this point on, Bitcoin pumps 100%. What you're going to get is you're going to get Bitcoin up, in the 160s, the 170, let's say between 150 to 170. The lower it goes, let's say it goes down to 74, 75K, then, you're going to get a 130 to 140 Bitcoin, which is not really ideal. I think the higher that it goes, the more retail will drag in with it. So ideally what we want, we do want Bitcoin to hold, this level to, Mike is not great. Oh, for fuck's sakes. Hold on 1 second. Let me just let me check. Reduce background noise, get rid of that. Automatically adjust mic volume. Yeah, it should be better now, hopefully. Hello? Double check now. The mic should be fine now. Is it okay now? Let me know if the mic is okay now before I start rambling on again. Is the mic okay? Let me know. Ross, Southflex. Good to see everyone in the chat as well. Jobin, good to see you, brother. Ross, good to see you. Khalid, Ryzen, good to see you. Fizz, good to see you, bro. Martin's, good to see you as well. Mixon, good to see you. Jamie, good to see you. Big GG, good to see you, my friend. It has been a crazy ride, hasn't it, bro? I mean, if this is your first cycle, it's probably the most nerve-wracking cycle I've been a part of personally. And I think, I feel like once you become, you have to go through this type of stuff to understand, what it takes to actually become an investor. Because, when you're seeing your altcoins go down continuously, you do become, a little bit, you become bearish and you have doubts and you have concerns, and it's quite normal. But Bitcoin, at this stage of the market, does tend to go down approximately, on average 30%. So, in the previous 2 cycles, we had Bitcoin going down from the top to the bottom, approximately about 30%. At the moment, it's only down 24%.
If it goes down to 30%, let's say like the previous cycles, then you are looking at about 76 to 75K, maybe 77K. It doesn't always have to go down there, but let's say it does go down there, as long as it can, stay above the 74, 73K region, then there's no concerns for a left translated cycle, just to make you guys aware. A lot of people are concerned, calling the top because they expecting a left translated cycle, where the peak happens quite early, and then obviously we top out and then we go back into a bear market. But there's no signs of that. I did a private stream yesterday and I was explaining to everyone the S&P always struggles, between February and March. It tends to struggle for like a month, and then afterwards everything just picks back up again after the election year. And this is exactly what we're seeing now. And during that process, you see Bitcoin struggling as well. You see the crypto market struggling. Now, every single time the S&P has gone into a left translated cycle, what you get is you get a case of low unemployment, and then you get a case of high inflation, where inflation shoots up aggressively. And that's why we go into a left translated cycle, because if inflation does go up in a very aggressive manner, then the Fed has no other choice but to increase the interest rates again, which means you get another rate hike, and ultimately you go into a bear market again. That could last a year, could last another year and a half, could last 6 months. If everything just goes to shits, then realistically they would have to reduce the rates in a very quick manner. But we're not seeing that at the moment. Inflation is going up in a steady pace. It's not shooting up from 3% to 3.5 to 4%. It's shooting up from 2.6 to 2.8 to 3% to 2.9%. It's not an aggressive move. Core PCE is still good, and that's what the Fed looks for when they want to cut rates. Core inflation has gone up. Inflation year over year has gone up, but core inflation remains at the same level. So it's not anything to be concerned of, in the sense where we are going to go into a left translated cycle. I think if it was a left translated cycle, what you would see gold break above the 3K region, which at the moment it's not. And what you're seeing is investors. Some investors are risk off, and that's why gold keeps breaking out and putting new highs. And some investors are risk on, because the S&P hasn't really dropped that much. The Nasdaq hasn't really dropped that much. We've seen it multiple times where it comes down, rallies back up, comes down, rallies back up. And this is, like I said, you get at this stage of the cycle, you get the S&P, the Nasdaq, just kind of struggling for like a month. And during this process, what you're going to get is you're going to get the exact same thing with Bitcoin. Bitcoin will struggle as well, along with the S&P. And the reason is because of the ETFs. You have large investors, who have that. They don't care about Bitcoin in the sense that some of us do. We look at Bitcoin as digital gold. They don't look at it like that. They look at it as something that can make them money in the short term, and a lot faster than the stock market. So they will trade it. If it goes, if some bad news comes out, they'll sell it, and if some good news comes out, they'll pump it. That's all it is. The good old days. Want to go back to the good old days? Yeah, it's quite stressful. At what point would you consider it's over? Okay, so I'll just explain to you. I would consider the cycle being over if we break down below 73K, and we come down maybe to 66K off this trend line, and then we bounce and we can't hold above the 73K again. We get rejected, let's say somewhere around here. If Bitcoin does come down to this region, of course is going to have a very strong bounce. But if that bounce cannot break above this, then ultimately what you're going to get is you're going to get maybe, you might get Bitcoin go up to like 88K, the max, and then it will just go back down. You might get a strong bounce to up here, and then you're just going to, you're going to go into a bear market. So that's the only time I would start getting bearish, and I would admit that a cycle is over if you come back down to this region here, because this region is, I think sentiment will be completely dead. I don't think anyone would even want to invest into Bitcoin if he comes back down to this region, and you're not going to get a lot of new buyers. So if we come back here, it's very likely that all the people that did buy over here, they will be selling up here, will get rejected and we'll go into a bear market. Now we don't know how low Bitcoin will go into a bear market, but I don't really think this is the likely case. I do think that we will have a normal cycle, and the reason is, for the US to get inflation under control, you are going to get some sort of short-term pain. When you get tariffs and all this stuff, I don't really think Trump has already said that these tariffs will only be there for like max a year. And the reason he wants to put these tariffs is because he wants to fix, he wants to fix the country. He wants debt to be less, and he wants to get some good deals for America. So in that period, you are going to get the market stumbling. Now, this is all manipulation when there is no actual bad news, and the market has just dropped, literally like 15K in the space of a few days. It's just pure manipulation. Binance is selling all of the Solana holdings. They've completely emptied the Solana tank. So if you guys are holding Solana, you do have to consider that the cycle lows or the cycle highs for Solana could be in. It could maybe come back up and have a retest, maybe a double top. But, there's a lot of FUD on Solana because in a few days, where in March, you get a massive unlock on Solana. And with the current FUD that it's facing, it could potentially go down a lot lower to the point where it might not recover again. And that's how it is, because Solana does not have any real use case apart from meme coins. And the more retail that gets out of the market, the pump funds and all these other assets that Solana has, they're very likely not going to be utilized, and they're going to be making less revenue. And a lot of these companies, these are still companies. They rely on revenue. Projects, these are still businesses. A business's value goes up based on how much money they earn. And Solana earns the most. That's why it's performed the best this cycle. Ethereum obviously earns, but not nowhere near the levels of Solana. But I think the sentiment will shift eventually, because if you look at the top meme coins, the Giga Chads, these are the best meme coins. Majority of them have lost all support, and they just non-stop going down. And this is the effect of retail. When you get people like Mura telling you join the cold communities, it's like you're giving, you're relying on other retail investors, because let's say a retail buys over here and he comes down to his regions close, maybe 45, and he bought a 40, he's going to sell. And then, it just leads to a chain reaction. And this is what happens to a majority. And a lot of these meme coins will never recover. Oftentimes when you get them on the top exchanges, I look at them as like that is done. This meme coin is finished. You want to be buying stuff before it gets the major listings. And after it does get the major listings, it's very likely that coin is just going to dump, because the exchanges dump the shit out of it. It's the same thing. I think the only one that I think the only meme coin that could survive is probably this one right here, because it's holding up a lot better than a majority of other meme coins. Most of the other meme coins, the peanuts and all these other dog shit meme coins, a majority of them are just, they're done, they're finished, they're never going to come back. Just look at the chart. They'll have little bounces here and there, but it does not mean they're ever going to come back. And this is a prime example. This got listed on pretty much all the exchanges, Binance, Coinbase. And after that, all it done was just non-stop dump. I think it was the zero something. Zero bro. No, bro zero. I don't know what the fuck it was. This was another meme coin that was on Solana. And it's not on here. It was quite a big meme coin, but it dumped, literally almost dead, like minus 90%. 100 likes, bottom is in. Yeah, so if you drop 100 likes, the bottom will be in. That's exactly right. The hair had to be bearish today. The market's bearish, the hair has to be bearish. David, good to see you, brother. How you been? I've been all right. I hope you've been good, man. You are good to see you, brother. Very good to see you. Southflex, good to see you. Cheap prices, ask for the no BS info. Good to see you, Declan, as well, bro. Salam, what do you think about months April, March? Walaikum salam, bro. It depends, because it's gonna take a month or two, maybe a few weeks for sentiment to change. And all it takes is just one news. That's all it takes. Like crypto markets are, a majority of people are retail. And when they start seeing prices go up, they obviously just buy back in, and then when prices go back down, they do the opposite. They sell. They start panic selling. And if you look at some of our altcoins the last couple of days, majority of them have not moved an inch. Like Alt has not moved an inch since 93k Bitcoin. It hasn't moved because people don't want to sell. I think most of the sellers are out now. There's a few coins that have taken a hit. One of them is Relio. Relio has taken a fucking giant hit. Bricken, if you guys bought into Bricken actually pumped, it had a massive pump yesterday from 19 all the way up to like 28, 29 cents. And the reason is because they had their last unlock, which was 4 million Bricken. But 40% of those people, they ended up restaking their tokens, meaning that they believe in the project and they don't want to sell their bags. And that's, big on that news alone, it had a massive pump. It pumped approximately almost, 70, 60%, which is quite massive. And then you see other coins just holding up reasonably well. ATR has held up fairly well the last couple of days. It doesn't want to dump. NAI doesn't want to dump. Maybe because it's at major support, but none of these coins want to dump any further. Even Sensei is holding up fairly well. And the reason is because I think they've got some sort of major announcement coming up very soon. So we're gonna have to see. I mean, at the moment, all these announcements and all these shit, it doesn't really matter because everything more or less relies on Bitcoin. So if you start seeing Bitcoin, maybe have a bounce or hold these regions, then ultimately some of these altcoins will do the same. Because Dodo 3 is not really moving. And that just shows majority of people have or not willing to sell anymore. I think all the JITs are out. All the people that's holding, they're holding because they still believe that we are going to have another move up, which, I do think the cycle lows are almost in. I genuinely think that. But there's, as long as your altcoins are developing and they're still updating, they're going to events, they're forming new partnerships, that's all you should care about in this short period of time. Because when the market does get bearish, a majority of these altcoins, you start to see the true colors. They don't post nothing, they don't show updates. They just they're more or less just more abandon the project. So if you're seeing some altcoins do the exact same thing as what I'm saying now, you should consider selling them. That's what I think, because if the team's not updating you when the market's bearish, they most definitely, and they're just here for the short term. They're not, and that's something to consider as well, because with these meme coins, what they can do is just fucking post pictures and animations and stuff, but no one gives a shit when the market's going down and everyone's panicking. Do you think anyone gives a shit that some guy, some fucking squirrel, is posting an animation? It doesn't work like that. You want to see some good updates, building partnerships, because that's all that matters. Okay. One of the coins LBM broke so hard, so you think it'll come back? Yeah, so if you've been following my channel, I did say LBM is scammy. And the reason I said that is because even though they're updating and they're working, but one thing I did not like about LBM, I actually brought into this around these regions here. I can't remember when it was, but it was somewhere around the 3 cent region. And then I sold it when it had this value over here. So I got like a 2-3x out of it. And then, or I think it was a 2x, and I sold it. And the reason I sold it is because I was speaking to the CEO, and the CEO was, they tokenomics was shady, in the sense where you have a project that supposedly had, like 10, 20% unlocks, which is fuck all, till the end of the year. On here on Crypto Rank, you guys can see for yourself that the vested schedule for this was really good, and RWA was hot at the time, and everyone liked the base network. This is on base, so everyone was bullish, and then, until you realize that this tokenomics over here is completely false, in the sense where the team has more or less 50% of the supply unlocked, which they can add into circulation anytime they want. And then, if the team holds 50% of the supply, but there's no use case for it, why is it unlocked? There's no reason for it to be unlocked unless you're a scammy project. And that's what I've seen with LBM. And I sold and got rid of it. And and look at the price now. It's dumped aggressively. RBM was decent, but it's like, it's one of those projects you chuck in 200, 300 or $400 and just forget about it, and it might rug, it might not. Like less than 1% of the port. That's how I treat these coins. But I don't like shady behavior from the team, especially when it comes to tokenomics. It's like you don't need 50% of the supply unlocked if there's no use case for it. So, and I was arguing with someone on Twitter about this, and he was like, no, that's not true. And then I proved them wrong, and a guy apologized to me. He's one of those RWA nerds on Twitter. The guy always posts about RWA, and he was bull posting about this. And then the CEO got involved, and then the CEO was in my comments, in my DMs saying, don't do that. Stop spreading false information. And I proved him wrong. And he just waffling. I just blocked him. But I would be careful with this project. And another one is WeCoin. I would be careful with WeCoin as well. And the reason is because there's not much development going on. And projects like this, like I said, you chuck in small, tiny amounts of money. And if they rug, they rug. That's how you should treat these meme coins. I mean, I look at this WeCoin as like a meme coin. There's no real utility. They have the same product they've had over like 2 years now. I used to hold a large bag of this, but I ended up selling it because the CEO does not really know what he's doing in terms of crypto wise, and there's not much development ever since 2 years ago. So this is another one I would be careful as well, Nemo. Alexa, good to see you. Alex, 8house86, Spacey, good to see you, my brother. I would agree with you. I think everyone has. It's quite difficult, but the best thing to do is, kind of zoom out. Don't look at short-term price action. The short-term price action, if you look at Bitcoin now, you probably think the cycle's over. In reality, as long as Bitcoin does not go below this level right here, we are good. There's a few good events to look forward to. One of them is QT ending. We could actually see QT ending this month or next month in March. It's very possible, if not the following month. When QT ends, the market will have a switch in sentiment, because when QT ends, people like to get risk on. It means at some point they are going to, they're not going to go into QE, because for QE to come, you need a lot of things to go wrong. So ideally, we don't even want QE, because if you get QE, you are going to have to get a major crash in the stock market, which obviously will crash Bitcoin as well. And, sentiment could lose. Like stock market sentiment is always going to be there, but crypto isn't the same. Crypto is not as established. Like one stock has more money than the entire crypto space. That's how you look. That's how small crypto is compared to the stock market and some of these, top companies. Shadow, good to see you, my friend. Listen to it now, and I'll go live tomorrow as well for you. That's how I think everyone's numb now. I think everyone's numb now. I don't think anyone gives a shit anymore. I've just realized it. There's a few people last live stream who are obviously crying. There's always going to be a few people, the retail minded, that obviously they only care about short term price. In the grand scheme of things, we are still looking fine. This dump is okay. The cycle lows are approaching. I think in the next 1 to 2 days, the cycle lows will be in. And that's why we do small DCAs. I already said people in the private group when we were up here to do tiny DCAs because a big move was coming. And I knew it was going to be to the downside because, the sentiment for the S&P was looking weak. When the S&P drops, the manipulation just continued from the exchanges. These exchanges manipulated the price heavily, massively, bro. Like, yes, the last 2 days, they've just been selling nonstop. One exchange, two exchange sells. They liquidate all the long positions. And then the other exchange sends money to Wintermute and they start buying. But the dollar's looking weak, which is good for us. The 10-year looking weak. It means that people are locking in the yield, which is good for the stock market. When people lock in the yields, it means at some point, the stock market is also going to go up. You got the 2-year doing the exact same thing. The 2-year has taken quite a massive hit as well. And the reason is because people are locking in the yield. They're looking for some safety. They're looking for some secured yield. And that's why the 10-year is going down. When the 10-year goes down, so does the dollar. That's why the chart looks more or less the same. which is overall good. I can imagine the yen is going up as well now because, you know, at the moment, the two safe havens in the markets are gold and it's the Japanese yen. Look at the Japanese yen rally. This is what happens when everything goes to shits. People either go to gold or they go to the yen to lock in the yield over there. Are you still holding our coins? Any thoughts on selling anything we have? I would say I don't recommend selling anything now. I still hold every single one of my coins. Is because, like, you guys have to think, right? When I was shitting Sensei was at like 0.009, 0.8, 0.01. I'm still up on Sensei. When I was shitting, I would say the only two coins I'm down on is Alt. I am down on Alt, but I still remain very bullish on Alt. And the reason is because they just non-stop building. You know, when you get Alt is hosting the biggest decentralized AI gathering in ETH Denver. And you look at the top companies, you know, that these guys are hosting, you know, you look at Engine Layer, Polygon, Elisa OS, which is the AI 16 robot thing. I mean, the AI agent. You got, you know, Massa, which is one of the main for Tau. You got Fala. Fala's pretty big as well. And you got all these other companies, you know, that's attending the summit. Is bullish because what you get is you get new partnerships being formed. And this is exactly what Alt has been doing over the last couple of days. They formed a partnership with these guys. These guys are obviously partnered with Tesla and some of these other big companies. So, you know, they're forming partnerships with notable companies, you know, with StoreJ and you know, stuff like this is what you want to see in your projects during these times. It doesn't matter. Price action is all temporary. You know, some of these altcoins can just pump 100% in one day, and then you're back in profits. That's how it works. I mean, just look at prop base. Prop base was dead, and then randomly it just pumped like 50% in one night. And this is why you shouldn't, you know, worry about short-term price action. You know, prop base literally was chilling in the free region, and then you just had this massive pump. When the market gets bullish, and it was a lot higher, the pump actually reached like 5 cents. It's the exact same thing. You can DCA, and then all it takes is 1 wick for you to be back in profits again. Look at Bricken. Bricken was down, down, down. In 1 wick, it basically made everyone back in profits that bought in lower. This is all it takes. People don't realize this. In literally 1 wick, this was like in the space of a day, you can be back in profits. So when you're DCAing these coins, you know, you have to think when the market does flip bullish, in 1 week, you will be back in profits. That's all it takes. As long as you're not down 80, 90%, obviously it will take a bit more. But that's the whole point of DCA. You don't bulk buy. And I've always stressed to people, never bulk buy. Is the stupidest thing you can do is bulk buy. You don't know in QT, you know, the market is not going to play out like previous cycles. This is the full business cycle. The Bitcoin has never seen a full business cycle, so it's not going to play out like the 4-year cycle where we go up Jan, Feb, March. You know, it's not going to be like that. You are going to get pumps randomly here and there, but with QT being there, none of these pumps are going to be sustainable. They will pump, and then, you know, one bad announcement because of QT, the market will just dump to shits. And that's why you DCA small amounts and always have cash on the side. And look, you know, and this is when you get times like this, you realize that always having cash on the side is the most important thing, and not DCAing bulk buying is very important. When I say DCA, when I tell people to do DCA, I'm talking about fucking $50 to $100 here and there. That's what I always said to people. When I tell people to DCA, I'm talking about tiny DCAs till you see like a major capitulation event where you can buy a bit heavier. That's how I've always done it. I did that back in, you know, in June, July, August. I went heavy. I was DCAing tiny amounts throughout the months, and then when you get a big capitulation event and you go into extreme fear like we are in today, you buy more, you buy a bit heavier. But like I said, the cycle lows is going to be in fairly soon. So fairly soon, you know, you can start DCAing a bit heavier. We don't stay in extreme fear for too long. At the moment, I don't know why this says 26, but we should be in extreme fear. Fear and greed. Let's see. Fear and greed alternative. This is a good one. Yeah, look, we are in extreme fear right now. We don't tend to stay in extreme fear for too long. In a few weeks, in a few months, you're not gonna care what price you bought some of these projects in. I would obviously, you don't buy anything that's up. I would not be buying Bricken now. I'd wait for a little bit of a correction at least. Don't care anymore. I'm riding to this ship till we pump. Yeah, of course, bro. That's the mentality you should have. Like I said, the cycle will not be over till Bitcoin goes down to the 73k region, which at the moment it seems we're quite far away. But just look at the dominance. Dominance is going down while BTC is going down. Altcoins, just look at this. I think most alts, a majority of alts may have bottomed. You got Bitcoin going down 5.5%, and total fee has not moved an inch. So it's quite weird because you're seeing dominance go down. You're seeing ETH go down, but then you look at maybe ETH will have a double bottom. Maybe a double bottom because it's off this trend line now. Let's see if we can hold this trend line. Hopefully it can, and then we'll probably just have another bounce up. And eventually, if you keep tapping this region, you will break this region eventually, and vice versa as well. If you keep tapping this trend line, eventually it will break. But then the same thing is up here. If you tap it enough, you will break, and that's exactly what happened with BTC. 1, 2, 3, 4. On the 5th try, we actually broke through and went higher. Down 80%. I think I'm screwed at this point. I don't think you're screwed. I just think of it as a learning curve. I don't think you're screwed though. I think if you stay around, you walk away with profits. The biggest return January, February, they said. Bro, you don't listen to too much influencers, bro. Most influencers do is they just look at the previous cycles and just say, oh, January and February is bullish. We have to be bullish. It doesn't always work like that. When a business cycle, the cycle is different. If the market's played out exactly the same every time, there wouldn't be a market. Is sell my bad May and go away? Still thinking. I don't think so, no. It's not always going to be the case. I mean, you've had plenty of times where in the summer we've pumped. We had a DeFi summer. We had a pump in 2022 summer. But it all depends on market conditions. A lot of altcoins don't really do nothing during the summer. So they just bottom out. So you can sell in May and go away, and then your altcoin just not doing shit. Then it becomes a bit stupid, doesn't it? So it all depends, my friend. I personally would not sell in May and go away. It's pointless. Just stick it out for a couple of months. Just go touch some grass. Do some other shit. It's not like, it's not like everyone's life depends on crypto. Some of you could, but you have to think, right? You have to think. I personally don't advise people to put their life savings in crypto. It's probably the stupidest thing you can do. And if you are thinking of putting your life savings, or you have put your life savings, don't go and buy fucking low cap altcoins, bro. That's not how you should do it. Especially if you're one of those people that is very emotional. Never do that. Just if you're gonna ever put your life savings in anything, it has to be Bitcoin only, bro. That's what I would do. I would never put it in anything else. Everything else is temporary. Everything else is a scam. 99% of crypto is a scam. You get a few real products, real companies, and you got majority just scams come out, go within one cycle. But I'm personally not going to be selling, just because as long as we are above this region, the market will bounce and go up. And it's not always going to be selling May and go away. It doesn't always work like that. If QT ends in the next couple of months, it's very likely we'll just rally. Tell me something March, May. I can't predict that much. Andy, good to see you, brother. I'm glad to see you. I am. Skiller's good to see you as well, bro. Just moving at the goalpost. I swear, if we don't pump May, June, we're pretty fucked. Not necessarily. You need a catalyst for the pump. The catalyst could be anything. It could be an interest rate cut. It could be some money being injected into the markets. It could be credit creation. Well, I spoke about multiple times. It could be, it could be a Bitcoin reserve. There's plenty of stuff that can crypto is one of those things where sentiment can just switch like that. If we see into Bitcoin tomorrow rally to 92k, everyone's going to be bull posting. Everyone's going to FOMO in. That's how it is. Everyone will start FOMOing in and bull posting. I think what's happened this time is all these. I think Trump actually put a tariff on the EU, which is kind of causing the second dump today. But the tariffs are not that much of a. I think all the tariffs and people pricing higher inflation is all getting priced in now. The market has to price everything in advance. So then when you get a case of, something positive happening, the market will react a lot, harder than it would if it wasn't priced in already. So, for example, if we get more than one rate cut this year, then the market will price that in very aggressively, meaning that we will have an aggressive pump if we get more than one rate cut. If we get a rate cut, I think the market is pricing in one or even no rate cuts this year. So if we get like 2 rate cuts this year, the market will pump aggressively. So that's what's happening, right? Everything's getting priced in now. We do have some more data points tomorrow, which I think is quite important, but everyone's kind of already expecting, the markets to, they're expecting GDP growth to kind of ease off, which not too bad, because then, the higher that is, or the lower that is better for inflation anyways, GDP, because it's going to come down regardless, because the Doge, they're spending and cutting government spending. So you're going to get GDP coming down, which is not really the worst, but as long as it's not below 2%, it shouldn't really be an issue. But yeah, the economy slowing down, I think it's quite priced in. I think everyone's kind of expecting it. But what I think is most important is initial claims, initial jobless claims. If normally initial claims bottoms out between 190 to 200k. Obviously, it was like 190 a few months ago. So I do think initial claims will slowly climb higher, which is good, because the higher unemployment goes, the lower inflation comes. If you could have to give one up, you would rather give unemployment up than inflation, because if inflation is low, then guess what? The Fed can print. If unemployment's high, we have a chance of going in a recession, but they will just cut interest rates really aggressively and then print. And then you get the case of QE, and you get the case of, unemployment will shoot back down aggressively. But it all depends. You like I said, if you had to give one up, I would rather give unemployment up. But I don't think Trump would want to do that, because he doesn't want to be hearing the word recession. So just mainly because of his ego. But there's other positive news as well. For example, the Russia and Ukraine war ending, which is good for inflation, because you do get cheaper gas and electricity, which is good. You get core inflation going down, you get PCE going down, and we do have PCE. I think it's PCE. We got core PCE, data coming in tomorrow. So we do have quite a lot of data coming in tomorrow, and this is going to, I think it will more or less judge which way the market is going to go in terms of the stock market and the crypto market. So this is something to be vigilant for tomorrow. Check how this comes in. If it comes in as expected, then it's already priced in. The market's not going to do anything. If it comes in better than expected, obviously the market will rally. But core PCE is apparently is going to go higher. The core consumption price index 2.5, previous period, final core accelerated 2.5 Q3. So let's see what this comes in as. Initial claims, GDP growth, and PCE. These are the important data that's going to be coming out tomorrow. Everything else is just pointless. No one cares about France. No one cares about EU. The only country they really care about is there's core PCE coming in as well. Let's see. It's expected to come in, I think it's on Friday. It's expected to come in slightly lower, which is good, because that is inflation numbers. So if it comes in lower, the market will react positively to that news. I think more, yeah, it could be, but it could also be the case where we get a longer cycle, because in order to tame inflation, you are going to get short-term pain, but the outcome of taming inflation, you can go into economic expansion for like a decade. So then when we had the crash in 2010, 2009, or whatever that crash was, 2010, we went into a decade of expansion. We're going through the same shit now, and then we're going to go into a decade of expansion again. There's always going to be some short-term pain, but that's why you invest into assets that you know is not going to die or rug pull or just capitulate. They're here for the grand scheme of things. That's why you invest into safety projects rather than fucking putting into some meme coin that's all insider traders pumping it and then they rug it later. March has to be a slow recovery. I think we will get some sort of bounce, reasonably soon. I think within the next week, within 1 week, the cycle lows will be in. Will Solana die, sir? I don't think Solana will die. Solana will not die. But, I don't think Solana will perform as well as people think. And people are probably asking, if Solana doesn't do well, is OTK going to be affected? Is ATR going to be affected? And the answer is no, because it all depends on narratives. It doesn't depend on the chain. If the chain was doing well, then every single Solana coin will be doing well. But in reality, they don't. Is all about narrative. Narrative is more important than the chain. Aptos is not a good coin, in terms of the layer one compared to the other ones. But prop base still done a 15x, a 13x from the lows to the highs when the RWA narrative pumped. It's all about the narrative itself. It doesn't matter about the chain. OTK still done plenty, hundreds of X's, despite Solana. Solana did well, but it did help. But in terms, it all depends on narrative. Even though Solana is still where all the liquidity is, just look at some of these, gaming coins. They're being fucking raped. Every single gaming coin on Solana have been raped, and that's not because that has nothing to do with the chain. The chain does not really do nothing, does it? That's I don't really look at the chain as anything important in my eyes. But yeah, guys, I think even though Bitcoin's going down and total free has not moved an inch, bro, it's a good sign. It means the majority of alts have bottomed. Do I have others? I don't have others on here. But yeah, these altcoins just they've I think more or less have just bottomed out. A majority of them have just bottomed out. I wasn't active recently, but always watching. 100% spot alpha for me on this. What's your thoughts on ABM? Spicy Mustard, good to see you, my friend. Very good to see you. ABM. We're gonna have a look at ABM. What project? What is this? Oh, it's on Solana. If it's not on here, I can't really look into it. But maybe is there a project that's coming out? Spicy. Bob Lucas makes a good video for the fear now. Bob Lucas make a good video for Bob Lucas is always bullish, though. He's always bullish. And he's going to say exactly what I said. As long as Bitcoin does not go into this region, then you are good. Because if it goes into this region, as I explained, let's say it comes after this trend line, we bounce, we get rejected off here, that is bear market guaranteed. If Bitcoin maybe goes down to 80K, whatever, the cycle is still fine, it's intact. Every single cycle we've had dips is pretty normal. We've always had 30% dips. We had 30% dip over here. It's not anything out of the ordinary. We had, if you look for the top to down here, we had a 30% dip right there. Let me zoom in for you guys so you can see. That's a 30% dip right there. The exact same thing back in 2017. We had a 30% dip from here to here. I can't really zoom in. Was it, I think, the start of 2017? There's a 30% dip somewhere here. It's always, dips are normal in bull markets. They're normal. So, it's not anything out of the ordinary what's happening now. So yeah, I wouldn't be nervous until, if Bitcoin does come down to this region over here, then we'll probably make a new live stream and we'll speak about it. G-Man, good to see you. Walaikum salam. Since you're talking about earnings, what do you think about Ort's latest burn? It was likely a quarter of the previous burn. That just probably means it was a slow month for them. You know, so it was like the first burn wasn't as big as the second and third one, and then you had 2 big burns and you had 1 slow burn. So it doesn't really matter. But I think what earnings we did have was Nvidia. I want to see what Nvidia's earnings came in as. I have to check after the stream. I'm scared to say I put all my money in Dynex and my wife told me to sleep on the couch. The fuck? Are you being serious? What the fuck? Are you actually being serious? I really hope you haven't done that, my friend. If you put all your money in Dynex, I feel sorry for you, bro. Like Dynex is one of the most speculative projects out there. No one knows if they ever going to recover because it's speculative. They don't have a working product. When people talk about marketplace, every project has a marketplace. Doesn't do nothing. It's a very competitive market. This project does not exist, my friend. ADOS does not exist. Remember Mura said that XPX market cap. Yeah, I don't know, but that guy's retarded, bro. He says the most stupidest shit. Is like, oh, there's gonna be one meme coin that's gonna do everything and go to 100 billion. It's like, no, it's not, bro. None of these meme coins are gonna go past 2-3 billion. You know, you have to be. There's so much competition. You got Doge, you got Pepe, you got some other ones. Why are people gonna? Where's all this money coming from for XPX to go to 100 billion when it's all retail investors in it? Delario, good to see you, buddy. Very good to see you, but one of the real ones. What do you think about realistically Mavia G for his lows? I think, yeah, look, so Mavia at the moment is a falling knife. And as long as the market keeps going down, I think, Mavia at these levels, I don't really see it breaking the 20. And the reason is because you have to, I think seed is 20. I'm pretty sure seed is 20. So, and I think most people that have sold this have more or less sold, and there's no unlocked for the next couple of weeks. So, unless people sell the early investors, the previous unlock that just happened, unless people are selling it at a loss, then it's very likely, is just going to probably stick to this region. But like I said, don't buy a falling knife. And Jamie, one thing I'll tell you is never put leverage prices on gaming coins when the narrative is fucking dead. That's the one thing you never do. I would rather put leverage on RWA, on AI, but I would never put it on, on a gaming project because gaming narrative is 0 right now. It's completely dead. But I don't really see it going to 16 unless Bitcoin breaks the 80K region, which Mavia is one of those projects that tends to follow Bitcoin. Real gigabyte right now. I agree with you. Real is actually one of the only layer ones for RWA. So if you look at Mantra, Mantra is a layer 1 for RWA, but Real's tech is like years ahead of Mantra. But Mantra's market cap is like fucking 7 billion. And these guys rebranded. There was never an RWA project. There was something else last cycle, but they rebranded to RWA, became a layer 1 for RWA. And and it's done very well, mainly because of their presence in Dubai. But if you compare Mantra to Relio has better technology than Mantra. But these guys, one thing that I don't like about Real is the fact that they don't really post on the Twitter. But according to the CEO, they are going to start rolling out a bunch of bullish news. We've partnered with Nevermind ETH to conduct smart contract audits, and then blah blah blah. So they are gonna start. They are going to start marketing next. So they're going to start marketing. They're going to start releasing bullish news, and that's what these guys are going to start doing now. And sometimes you need a wake up call, and Relio has had this wake up call in the sense where you can't just not post on your Twitter and expect people just to continue to hold your token and stay bullish. Relio is heavily driven by community. This is one of the most talked about altcoins in the entire space, and at the moment it's taking a massive hit. And one of the main reasons is because it tends to go through a lot of FUD continuously. It's always had FUD throughout the years, but it continues to go through FUD. But it's one of those that recovers fairly quickly when the market gets bullish, but it can also dump, when it just follows Bitcoin very closely. If Bitcoin pumps, this will have an aggressive move up. Bitcoin dumps, it will have an aggressive move down. But in the grand scheme of things, I think this will do well in the grand scheme of things. At these levels, it is at almost support levels. I think 20, maybe 20 cents is possible, but it's at that support level now, so it could very well be damn near the bottom. So real, as long as the CEO sticks to his words and starts developing, starts marketing, then it will do fine. Is Engine Fury a good buy? I don't think it is. The reason I don't like Engine and Fury is mainly because of the vesting schedule. It has a quite harsh, the vesting is quite harsh. And I was speaking to one other YouTuber, I forgot his name, but he's another YouTuber who was like, oh, vesting doesn't matter. Look at Gala. It's like, well, you're talking, you're talking in the space of QE, and you're talking in the space of where the market and gaming itself only had like 100 projects in the entire space. Now there's thousands of gaming projects, so it's a lot more competitive. And then you look at the vesting schedule. The vesting schedule is quite harsh. I mean, just look at it. They're just non-stop unlocks. Non-stop unlocks. Liquidity is almost done, but some of these have just started. Like Team hasn't even got their unlocks. They get in the next 77 days. Probably around 18%. Probably KOL partners, Team. There's I would say it's quite harsh. I don't think it's worth buying into this project. If anything, just let it dump for like another couple of months and then potentially buy into it. That's what I would do. I wouldn't buy into it now though. I would wait like a couple of months. The vesting is not that bad because some of the stuff ends. But I mean, bro, just look at this. It's quite harsh. I would wait like another month before buying this. Just let some of this finish. Let that finish. Let this finish, and then maybe grab a small bag. But I'm not a fan of Engine of Fury. Red Belly is dodgy, bro. Like I look at it as dodgy project because when you claim you've tokenized billions of assets, you would think that it would have more exchanges than just fucking Mexi and Gate. You would think that that you would get a Binance, a Coinbase, a Kraken, or one of these tier 1 exchanges, but it just launched on Mexi, which is quite weird, and there's no actual proof of all this tokenization that they claim that they've done, which is billions. There's no on-chain proof. And one of the questions when I did the AMA with Bricken, one of the questions I asked them was, you claim that you have 250 tokens, 250 million of assets tokenized. Can this be proven? And the CEO said, yes, everything is on chain. And that's the beauty of the blockchain. You can see everything. And from my research, maybe I haven't looked into it as much as I should have. This is the one project that has not shown any proof of their tokenization. There's no on-chain proof, but they claim they have billions of fucking assets that they've tokenized. So, I'm surprised. It's dodgy because, the early investors are up huge amounts. They're up ridiculous. Well, there was up ridiculous amounts. Then we had this fucking crazy dump. It actually wicked up to like 90 cents, which is 100x for the early investors. And it just fucking died because of the unlocks. And the unlocks will continue. There's like a 10x dilution. So it's not like it's low dilution. It's quite heavy dilution. So, I would be very careful with this project. I personally would not buy it. I would rather go with PropBase, which has been around for a while, has tokenized assets. I'd rather buy Bricken, ATR, Relio. Those are my favorites RWA coins. I would not be buying any of the other ones. Instead of buying this, you'd rather buy Plum. Like Plum is a good project. Big partners, partner with Ondo. This is a much better investment in terms of safety as well than the other project we were just speaking about, Red Belly. Somewhat based AI double my position in Sensei. Based AI teams either mentally challenged or abandon the project. Well, I listened to the AMA. They said that they haven't abandoned the project, but it's like, bro, I just look at these guys like complete retards because how hard is it for you to pay someone fucking $50, maybe $200 or $500 or whatever? Like when you got a market cap of fucking, whatever. I think it was over 100 million at one point. If you got a market cap of over 100 million, like, how have you not posted on Twitter? It does not make sense. This is a project that I was bullish on. I actually traded this shit once. I bought it at like $2, sold at like 5, 6, sold around these regions here. When it was slightly higher, but who gives a shit? I sold it. And then, I was considering buying again until, it's like, if your community is consistently telling you to stop posting on Twitter, like, why the fuck have you not posted on Twitter? So there's a chance they have abandoned it. But what I've noticed with based AI is it will randomly, what the fuck? Bitcoin's at 82K. Damn. Anyways, what I've noticed with based AI is they'll disappear, and then just come out with some random bullish news. That's what they tend to do. They'll disappear, and then out of nowhere, they've announced they've partnered with some company or they've partnered with some country. And that's what based AI normally does. But let's just see. And I personally would not invest into it because it's a fallen knife. You'd have to wait. If you was gonna buy this, I would personally wait until it finds a bottom. And it's the same thing with Mavia. Like, if you're gonna buy Mavia or any some of these coins, wait for it to hold the price for at least a couple of weeks before buying. If you hold the price for a couple of days, it's not good enough, because as soon as Bitcoin goes lower, it can always go lower. But I personally would rather buy Sensei. Sensei's going to every event, Qatar event, ETH Denver. They got another one coming up, and they're going to be continuously going to these events, forming new partnerships, building connections, and that's what good projects do. That's what a project that is running like a real business does. It means they got the funds for it. It means they're earning money, so they can go to these events with their teams. It's not cheap to go to to a country with like 10 team members, like what Alt's doing, but Alt makes millions of dollars, so they can do it. And and that's the thing. They don't need to, like, these projects don't need to dump their own tokens to stay afloat. They make money using their product. That's the beauty of some of these coins. I seen you in a chicken shop. You ain't seen me in no chicken shop, bro. Trump tariffs are set to affect April 2nd. If we pump in March, would it be a good idea to sell before? I think Trump's tariffs, is it April? I thought it was in March. I swear that he said he was going in March. If it's 2nd of April, then yes, I would say if you get a pump in March, then it would be ideal to skim some off, because unless QT ends in March, then I would say no. But if QT continues, like if fucking Trump sneezes, there's a chance the market could go down. That's how it is right now. I'm not active. Recently, always watching you, mate. Any thoughts of Prime, Peak, and Beam? Peak is good, Prime is good, and Beam is. I like all three of those projects, but even those projects are just like falling knives at the moment. So it's going to be difficult for you to. I think maybe maybe Beam is getting close to bottoming out, because it hasn't really moved too much the last couple of days. It's dumped, maybe put in a double bottom, but it's not really dumping too much. Let's have a look at Peak. Peak hasn't really dumped too much either, to be honest. It had an aggressive rally. It came down to 14, where it's at now. Had aggressive rally, dumped back down because it follows Bitcoin. Maybe we'll put in a double bottom, but I would potentially wait, because Bitcoin is going low at the moment, as you guys can see. Bitcoin's down 6%, but like I said, total free is not moving, bro. It's just been stuck in the same regions, and I think most of these alts have bottomed in my eyes. Majority of them have bottomed. There's going to be a few that's going to continuously go lower, because they follow Bitcoin. Some of these alts only follow BTC. If BTC goes down, they will go down. If BTC goes up, it will go up. I appreciate that, bro. Yeah, I was off for a while because I had COVID, bro. I got hit with a fucking COVID, and it took me out for like the whole week. My throat was hurting, my head was hurting, bro. It was crazy, man. My bags are even smaller than they were before Trump took office. Bro, these fucking Trump just fucked the markets, because what he's doing is he does not care about the markets, even though he holds like close to $1 billion in crypto, and he's fucking up the crypto markets. At the same time, because I think they got big plans for crypto, and that's why he continues to buy and doesn't give a shit about short-term price action. But when you're trying to fix a problem, you are going to get short-term FUD. You're going to get short-term, panic sells and all these other shit. Give double likes. One is not enough. Appreciate that, boys. Southflex, are you crypto guru? What do you think about Cubic? I'm not really a fan of Cubic. The reason is because Cubic is, I think it's, look how much it's dumped. It had actually, to be fair, is almost putting a double bottom, so it's not even that bad. But Cubic is one of those projects where the team tends to abandon the project. If you look at the Cubic history, they I think they rugged 2 previous projects, but they've abandoned it and they've launched a new one, and they make them pump because the tech is good. What are the chances they do the same thing with Cubic? There's a chance, there's a possibility. However, I do like the tech behind Cubic and what they're trying to do. So, but don't expect this project to do anything, crazy numbers. Just don't expect it, because they just don't have the market for it. Some average tier 3 exchanges, that's it. For a project, over 100 million, you should have at least a couple tier 2 exchanges. But it's all tier 3. Best gaming coins to DCA, the current prices. I would say every gaming coin is a good DCA. Carrot is pretty good. Is one of those that I would say is will get shilled, will pump. But it looks like a falling knife at the moment. So would I buy it? I personally would not buy it now till it bottoms out. You would rather catch something 10-15% higher and know it's bottomed out rather than catch a falling knife. How many people got fucked by based AI because they thought it was going to hold a certain level and it just continues to go lower? It just continues to go lower. And this is why you have to be careful not to catch falling knives. Same thing with Mavia. How many people thought Mavia was going to hold the $1 region? It's now 20 cents. So, you can get fucked with some of these projects. I would be very careful. Gaming coins, the only ones I like are the ones I always talk about. It's not really dumping, is it? OTK rallies aggressively, dumps. Rallies aggressively, dumps. So it follows BTC. But this moves quick. You see OTK pump 30% in one day, like a normal. In the last month, I would say it's held up fairly well. From 1.5, which is to 2, when I bought it, is down maybe 30, 40, 50% max. For a gaming project, that's pretty good. I think that's fairly good. I only hold 3 gaming coins. I hold Naka, which is, doing fairly well. Compared to most gaming projects, Naka's doing fairly well. It's holding, this region, I would say. For the last month, it's more or less been in the same region. I hold Immunity as less than 1% or some shit. I hold an OTK. That's the only gaming project. I don't really want to hold too much gaming projects just because of the narrative is just so dead. I'd rather have more in AI and on the RWA. Where does this market situation change anything about the coin potential? Are we still? It doesn't really affect any of the coin potential. The potential will always be there as long as they keep developing. The project potential doesn't matter on short-term Bitcoin price action or they go down. There's so many coins that goes down 99.9% and still go on to do hundreds of X's. It does not mean nothing. Just look at Matic. Matic went down 99% and put in hundreds of X's afterwards. It does not matter as long as, some of these coins will just catch on fire randomly because they post something bullish. People, when the market gets bullish and you go into an alt season, people just look for anything, any reason to buy a coin. If a coin hasn't pumped, people will go and look for coins that haven't pumped and they'll buy it and they will pump. This is what happens when narratives get hot. When the gaming narrative was hot, people will just go in to look for any gaming coin that hadn't pumped yet. There could be the shittiest gaming coin in the world and people will still buy it and pump it. That's all people do during narratives. They go when it comes to AI, they'll go on coin market cap, look at an AI coin that has not pumped yet, and they'll pump it. They'll buy it. That's what was happening. Some of them catch fire. Like Creo was like fucking 100K market cap, 90K market cap, and he just caught fire because people were looking for anything that hadn't pumped yet. If you look at Creo was dog shit back then. And and people bought in, and they went on to do like fucking 500x some shit from the lows. So don't look at short-term price action. Short-term price action doesn't affect the project long-term. It doesn't. As long as your projects are developing, they're going to be around. You're going to see people be like, oh, the market's too saturated. It's not. A majority of these coins are dead. The team is abandoned. They probably launched something else. There's only very few projects, the ones that stick around and continue to develop, they will perform. Just go on Twitter, look at your coins. Are they still developing? And a majority, every single one of our altcoins are. What do you think about Forter security token to protect blockchain? Forter. If it has a specific use case, then Forter. I think I've looked into this before. Doesn't look the best in terms of price action. Stops crypto hacks before they happen. There's quite a few similar projects to this. It's quite niche. The narrative isn't strong enough, in my opinion. I wouldn't invest into it. If these projects are good, they'll have random pumps like this. But then because the narrative is so dead, no one can give a shit. Can Munity recover? Of course, Munity will recover, bro. Munity was one of the best performing altcoins November, December. Fucking hell, it's gone down more. But I think Munity will recover, yes. But that's why I said, when you buy these low cap altcoins, you should only buy 1% or less, because when the market dumps, you're going to see, you're going to see them dump a lot more than the other coins. But, there's some bullish things to look forward to. Stun and Garden is the game, but the main game is coming out very soon as well. So that's, positive signs for Munity. And, as long as they're developing, it doesn't matter. Munity is only down like 50% for an altcoin, a low cap. That's fine, because as soon as the market gets bullish, it'll pump 5x like it was nothing. But would I buy it now? I wouldn't buy it now. Just wait for it to bottom out. It will bottom out eventually. The market cap's probably like fucking 200K right now or some shit. And then, and it'll bottom out, it'll pump. You can buy, bring your averages down. If you bought $1,000 of this project or $500 of this project, another 500 now would double your bags and bring your averages down 50% lower. So that's all it takes. And like I said, when it gets bullish again, because this does pump, when the market gets bullish, it pumps, which is a good sign. This major pump that we had, it was a pretty decent pump for gaming coin, at least. Most gaming coins were dead. I'm a big community member at the moment. Of what? Of Based AI. NVIDIA means profits expectation tonight. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for, bro. That's going to be the big one. My advice is don't quit your job just yet. Yo, looks like the cycle is different because people are different, more educated, convinced. Not really. I think this cycle is different because it's a business cycle, and you're getting. We've never really had institutional investors, driving everything like we have now. Tariffs have just started on some countries, but if the trade war escalates between US and China, do you think inflation could spike again, leading to a market downtrend? I don't really think Trump is going to allow it, and I don't really think he's serious with these tariffs. It's quite obvious what he's doing. He's trying to get some best deals for America, and that's why he's not 100% thinking. He's going to have meetings. He's going to announce that, they're going to put these tariffs, and then they're going to have a meeting. They're going to agree to something, and then, you're going to get a case. The tariffs doesn't go through, and it's all just short-term FUD or noise, and the market will do okay. But if it does put the tariffs, because these tariffs are only short-term anyways, they're only supposed to be here for 1 year only. That's it. But like I said, let's see what Bitcoin does tonight. I do think the cycle lows are approaching. I think, it will most likely hold. Hopefully it holds above 80K. Hopefully it does. Are you getting future trades? Are you going to? I'm not going to future trade. No, not in this environment, bro. Fuck that. BTC will go lower, but I think alts will not. It's possible, yes, because I mean, just look at this. BTC is down 6%. Altcoin is only down 3%. The total free market. No one's selling the alts. People are selling BTC though, but no one's selling their alts. Tesla, Master, Coinbase, my stock market is also down 30-40%. Damn, you must have bought the top then for them, bro. Because Tesla was doing well. Bro, MicroStrategy got fucked. Coinbase got fucked as well. I think it's true. Orange Man really is bad. He's bad short term, but he's bullish long term. Trust me. GLQ. I don't really think GLQ is a bad project, to be honest. I think overall is a pretty good project, but I think what we see, I think with AI is going to shift now, because if you see in Fetch AI, Fetch AI has now, they Fetch AI no longer on here. Oh, am I tripping? Fingers on. The fuck? Anyways, Fetch AI has, oh shit, wrong one. Fetch AI has, they've achieved ASI, which is, what this project basically aims to be anyways, is ASI. So they have achieved ASI, which is like real LLMs designed for agentic AI. So you have LLMs and AI mixed in one. And, ASI, it could be the next big narrative in AI. We had AI agents, we had LLMs, now we could get ASI. Now, Fetch is the only one I've seen that has achieved ASI. And I need to try this out because it's supposed to be like an agent that can do a bunch of different things, like real advanced LLM stuff. So I do need to try it out, but it's quite fascinating because I think this is the only crypto project that has achieved this. So you could see a lot of institutional investors into this coming in. Maybe some big companies will invest into it. Have our alts reached max pain? They're staying pretty steady despite the top three crashing. I think so. I think total free in general has bottomed out, because I think alt has not moved since 93k Bitcoin. Alt came down and just rallied and just is sticking to the same price now, and that's bullish. Sensei has not moved. I think Sensei is pumping actually. Any strong coins have dropped so much? We should look at now, because we have. Yes, actually, I'll probably make another video to talk about some good coins that more or less has come down significantly and are still undervalued. I'll make a video on that, to be honest. Any strong coins have, so my plan was to DCA small amounts into alt, Sensei, and prop base. Why would I be better to DCA big caps like Susos? I mean, it depends what your risk tolerance is. If you want more gains, obviously you'd have to go with alt, Sensei, and prop base, because despite how much Bitcoin's dropping, Su is chilling. Doesn't really drop too much, but you also have to think the upside potential for this is going to be a lot lower because you missed the drop down here or the drop down here. So you can go into Beam, Su, Sol, whatever, but you're going to get the bare minimum gains. It all depends on what your risk tolerance is. If you go into alt, Sensei, and prop base, you're going to get 10x minimum. If you go into Sol, C, Beam, you'll get like a fucking 2-3x with Sol and Su, maybe a 5-4x with Su or some shit. Maybe you might get like a 5, 6, 7x, 10x on Beam. So it all depends on your risk tolerance, my friend. It's up to you what you want to do. Hold your bag, go chill with the fam. Simple. Yes, that's a real G. Saif, good to see you, bro. I'm doing just fine. How are you doing? Kodak, how you doing, bro? But all the fucking whiners have gone and all the real ones are in the chat now. What's up, G, everyone? Buying the dip was an alt and Sensei. I'm going back to pick up some bags of them. Oh, really? Oh, you're lucky then. If you wasn't in alt and Sensei, well, you've been given a gift, to be honest, especially with alt. Alt has come down significantly, but it hasn't really done nothing. It's just stuck in the same range now. It's come down slightly. It was like 47, now it's 46.77. That's because Bitcoin's coming down slightly. But bro, if you do not have alt, this is the best time to buy this project. Just go look at my streams like 4 or 5 months back, they had like fucking 20k nodes across the world, or 30k or some shit. Now they have over 73k nodes, and this goes up every week. And this is a project catered to miners. 60% of the supplies for the miners. And when you see stuff like, I think they formed some human AI alliance with Aether, IONET. I think Max Lee posted about it actually. IONET, Aether, BNB chain, some other fucking companies, some other big companies. I can't remember. Oh shit. Oh, mic. Let me see if I can find it. But it was some pretty, and they're doing a hackathon where if you build on the project, what you get is you get rewards. So you're going to see the ecosystem. This right here, the Human AI Alliance with the Oasis Protocol, IONET, and a few other companies. I think it's Aether. It's StoreJ and XYO. And I think it's a few other companies. I don't know what the other companies were, but it was a list of them. So they've partnered with some pretty big companies to make this Human AI X Alliance or whatever the fuck it is. So yeah, these guys are building. These are the people that they had at that time. Google Cloud, BNB chain. They had the head of BNB there. They had XYO, Aether, ICP actually as well. Surprisingly, they had Albanks, which is an exchange. So you could see this on Albanks at some point. They got Holochain, Mine Network. So you're going to see a bunch of partnerships being announced, and it's short term. Most AI coins have taken a hit, but just look at the ones that are developing the most. That's the way I look at it. Those are the ones that are going to perform the best. Damn, Total Free's doing well. Is this the right time to buy new investors for his first? Oh yeah, but if this is your first bag, you're basically getting in at the cycle lows, my friend. Perfect time. So I sold my daughter to Diddy. What the fuck? You should have sold it somewhere else, but not to Diddy. Would you please check Otis? Otis is not on there, bro. C is a very good project. Very good project. I have C on my honorable mentions, and I do hold a bag of C. Well, Sal may go away if we don't pump before April, but it's like the cycle's not always going to play the same, bro. Like I said, people keep saying this selling may go away, but I explained to you that the market cannot always play out the same, because then it wouldn't be a market. If everyone knew when to sell and when to come back into the markets, it just wouldn't work every time. It's not going to work every time. January, February was supposed to be bullish. We fucking crashed. The markets are not always going to play out the same. And I hear so many people say selling may go away. It's not always going to play out like that. You get plenty of cases where in summer we pumped. Do you have any? I like Griffin, and I think Neural will do all right. Vader all depends on virtuals, but Neural will pump because I don't know why this project is so shit, but it pumps because of Alex Becker and some of these other, they talk about it a lot. That's the only reason it'll pump. But if you look at this project, like from an honest point of view, it's fucking terrible. It doesn't have a docs team. It doesn't really. It's like an AI gaming project. Like you can make these stuff in games, which is not a bad concept. But like I said, there's no docs team. I can imagine Alex Becker holds a large chunk of this shit that he probably got OTC. So I would be careful with this project. Griffin, same thing. Griffin is still fine. They're still developing, but the AI agent stuff at the moment is kind of staggering. But Griffin, they are building something pretty decent. It has come down a lot. And, it looks like the bottom may be in for this. It's possible. But I think Griffin is probably the best out of that list in terms of utility. Jay, good to see you, bro. I heard you were one of the Crypto disciples last cycle. What the fuck am I hearing? I heard you were one of CryptoSef disciples. I don't even know if he had a last cycle. I had a last cycle. I don't know if he had a last cycle. Immunity big unlock tomorrow. Is it? That's probably why it's dumping then. Let's see. Damn, it's a fucking 100k market cap. That's crazy, bro. That's not a fucking big unlock, bro. It's 33k. That's fuck all, bro. The fuck? That's not a big unlock, bro. That's 33k. 30k a month is literally fuck all. Especially, it's like you have to think of it like this, right? When you say big unlock, it's 33k, bro. That's fuck all. Yeah, the volume's like over 200k. This is why the unlocks doesn't matter, bro. Because these motherfuckers are down 89%. So why are they gonna sell at 89% loss? I don't think so. This is why Immunity is just like one of those coins that's just more or less, I think it's more or less bottomed out, damn near at least. But you know, these guys look, I don't really think they will rug. It's very unlikely Immunity will rug. Just because you know they have a pretty decent team behind them and they're still developing. So what do I think about Ondo? I actually hold Ondo and I'm very bullish on Ondo. Very bullish. Let me see what Ondo's price is. Let me see what Injective's price is. I'll put some orders for Injective for a trade. These are the only coins what the fuck? Yeah, the big bounce. These are the only coins I'm trading is Injective. I mean, I'm trading Ondo, and these bounce aggressively. So you see this, it'll come down, and then it'll bounce aggressively, and you can just do heavy amounts for short-term trades, and that's what I'm doing with Injective and Ondo because they don't really dump too much when the market gets bearish. Like just look at Ondo. I mean, Injective, it hasn't done fuck all for the past month, you could say. It's been in the same region, just consolidating, going up, coming down. Very good coin. Those two are very good for trades. And C's disease. But ever since Donald Trump bought C, shit's just been holding like a rock. I literally, like, it has not done shit. But look at this chart. The last 7 days, even though like you would think seeing Bitcoin at 84k, you'd think that fucking C would probably be at least down at like fucking 18, 19 cents down here. But ever since Donald Trump has bought this, it's been doing extraordinarily well. Jimmy, good to see you, my friend. How you been, bro? It's been a while, bro. How you been? Appreciate you guys as well, bro. Trust, good to see you. Staying strong with you, Winers sold loss. We'll be back. I mean, yo, yes, Adam, good to see you, bro. Let's get the market pumped. But we need to get this shit pumped, bro. Shit, fuck, man. I'm not concerned, but like I said, as long as BTC can hold above this level, we are going to still go into the right translate cycle. And most alts have bottomed. All the fucking retards that was whining last stream, they've all gone now. They sold their bags. And now it's just, it's just all the strong-willed people left. That's it. Everyone else, they've sold, they've capitulated. It is what it is. It is what it is. Adam, how you been, bro? Is Alexa a good project? Alexa is not too bad. It's not too bad, but what the fuck do I always spell this shit wrong? Alexa is not too bad for a degen gaming coin. However, like I said, with gaming coins, is it the best time to buy them? I don't think it is, no. You'd want to buy gaming coins a little bit later down the line. You don't want to be buying them now. Unless it's like, let me see, hold on. Let me see. What's the market cap of this shit, bro? It's hard to know what the market cap of some of these coins are. So it's 3 million market cap. Fairly cheap, to be honest. And it has less than 1x dilution by the end of the year. So it's not too bad in terms of dilution. So it's hard to say, but I don't really think LX is too bad. I think as a legit project, is pretty decent. But the only reason people don't like this project is because of the shenanigans they pulled with Lit Labs. So the Lit Labs team and the Alexa team are, kind of teamed up, and they chose Alexa over Lit Labs, and that's why Lit Labs died. And all the Lit Labs people now fought Alexa or hate Alexa. The reason Lit Labs was bullish is because of Alexa. And now that Alexa has his own token, everyone just sold their Lit Labs and just bought this. But this does get bullish randomly. Keep that in mind. I don't really think it's that bad though. It just came AMA and go away. That's, bro. I hope it does, man. I need to put some fucking. I need to start putting some indicators on my strong bounce though from Bitcoin. Very strong bounce. Is Corpor better than Mavia? I do think Corpor is better than Mavia in terms of fundamentals. I think Corpor is, they at least do the basics. The only thing that Corpor has in terms of, I would say, in terms of a bad point is the unlocks. The unlocks are not the best for Corpor. You go through months, 1 or 2 months of average unlocks, and in the third month, it becomes really heavy. And they did stop the unlocks for 3 months, and you had this very good pump. I actually took advantage of this pump because I put a trade on it. Down here, I think it was around 8-9 cents, and it did like just over 2x. So it does pump when the market gets bullish, but as soon as the unlocks commence again, you do get a case of continuous selling pressure. Because if you go on Chain Broker and you look at the unlocks, they're quite heavy. The unlocks when the market is bearish play a massive role, and like I said, because we're in QT, is going to be like this until QT ends. Like anything, any pump in QT is never sustainable. So if you look at this project, right, you look at 130 by, let's say, August next year, you get about 250, let's say October, November. So the unlocks are not too bad, but you get like if you're gonna buy this project, at least get it near seed prices. So maybe when it goes down to, I think it probably is already seed prices now, so it's actually not a bad time to maybe buy this shit. I think seed is, so seed is 0.04. So now it's already below seed prices. So there's, even if there is unlocks, there's not really anyone that can really dump on you unless they're dumping at a loss. And even if they do dump, it's not going to be heavy selling pressure because the other guys below them are down way more. So, if you can get anything seed prices, gaming projects specifically, then in the grand scheme of things, you're not doing too bad. But like I said, you go through a phase of average unlocks. So there's actually an unlock in 2 days. And then there'll be like a month where it will just be heavy unlocks, which could, kind of fuck up the selling pressure. But the unlocks are not too bad for the next year, I would say. It's less than 1x dilution. So, it's actually not a bad time to maybe, if you want to buy Corpor, it's not a bad time. 4 million market cap. If I had to choose between this and Mavia, I probably will choose Corpor just because, at least Corpor does the basics of regular updates, posted on Twitter. Mavia is the same shit as Based AI. They don't post shit. These guys are consistently active, post every fucking couple hours. And that's what you kind of want to see in gaming projects, but especially when the narrative is dead. Post games or clips or whatever, bro. I mean, look at Mavia. Mavia doesn't post shit. They're similar levels, I would say, to Based AI. They post retarded shit that no one gives a shit about. Like, who gives a shit about these guys talking about their in-game developments? 19th of February, they posted Power Division, revolutionized gaming, blah, blah, blah. No partnerships, no nothing, bro. That's the one thing I don't like about this project. And I don't even think you can earn playing Mavi at the moment. Something epics coming, things will never be the same. Are you ready? I think this might be the earning thing. I think this is what you can earn money in Mavia with. The Ruby shit. But yeah, these guys don't really post too much. So, That's the only downside to Mavia. But you know, when gaming takes off, every single one of these coins will pump. $5 million market cap now. What is 5 million market cap, Johnny? You're talking about Corpo. Yeah, Corpo is a massive discount, to be honest. Just wait for the unlock to happen on the 28th. It might dump a bit more, but if you can get this free below 4, you know, in the grand scheme of things, it's fine because, and I told people this, that this will come down to seed prices, and I would only buy this at seed prices. It's not a bad time to maybe grab some for a trade or something. Ondo tokens take value or it has no utility. Ondo it does have utility. I think Ondo is the main token, anyways. And it does have great utility, my friend, and it's been holding up fairly well, bro, compared to the majority of other altcoins. You know, I think it's held up fairly well. I mean, just look at that chart. That chart is looking good. It's a very good chart. Nothing wrong with that chart at all. Besides this, horrible markets, everything blessed. Good to see that. Good to hear that, Adam, bro. Basically, whole net worth is in shit coins, and I feel zero emotions. Only get triggered by retail. You're a real one, bro. You're a real one. I think in order for you to make actual money in crypto, unless you got millions and millions, you have to take that gamble on the shit coins, bro. You know, that's what I would do. You know, if I was, that's what I'm doing anyways, to be honest. I'm taking, I would rather gamble on shit coins rather than just stay in BTC and ETH, bro. Like, I have BTC and ETH, but you know, I did not put any new money into them. If you're trying to lip up some prop base, you know, I don't think it's a bad time, my friend. Not a bad time. It's holding this 3 cent region, you know, is respecting this region quite a lot. And one thing I like about these guys is when you look at the RWA narrative, what do they all lack? A majority of them lack exchange listings. And these guys are, you know, they focus on exchange listings. So, you know, what we have laser focus on 3 core priorities is marketing, continuous innovation, and exchange listings. And this is what they've been doing. They're going to get exchange listings probably every month, whether it's tier 3, tier 4, tier 2, it doesn't matter. Every single exchange listings helps and is good. Properties combine both strategic and tier 1 listings. So, you know, these guys, if we look at the RWA narrative and you look at which ones are actually tokenized shit, this is the only one that actually tokenized more than 2 properties. And they got a third one coming very soon. They've just got a CertiK audit for their marketplace. You know, they got 3 different use cases. And the token utility for this one is phenomenal because in order for you to have access to any of these stuff, whether you want to buy the property, you have to, there's tier lists for the token. I mean, for the staking. So if you want the top tier, you have to stake more prop base and you get first dips on the properties that come out. And you actually earn yield. You can actually earn monthly or daily income from those properties, and that's what the new marketplace provides, which is the Apex. I think, is it Apex or is it, let's have a look. I think the app is live now as well, which is pretty sick. Is it the Apex? Yeah, it is the Apex here. So they have 3 different properties. Oh yeah, there it is. Yield, Nexus, and Apex. I think Nexus is the recent one. Buy property tokens and yield. Yeah, it's this one right here. So, you know, these guys are, when it comes to tokenizing real estate, this is literally one of the best ones. And it's only sitting at 11 million market cap. And it's respecting this region. It's held this region fairly well. It bounce, it'll come back, you know. So 11 million, 12 million market cap is quite cheap, bro. But just DCA, though, don't bulk. Like I said, never bulk buy, bro. Never bulk buy. But if you don't have a bag and you want to buy a bag, 3 cent region is crazy for prop base. Games on Corpo are dope compared to Mavia. Mavia is only one game. Corpo has multiple different games. So, you know, I would potentially maybe look to buy Corpo myself, actually, for like a trade. Anyways, guys. Drop a like if you haven't already done so. It's good to see all of you guys. It's good to see the real ones in the chat. Hold on, let me look at this sentiment AI. Is this the? I think I've already looked into this. Is the one with a cat profile, isn't it? Yeah. Look, be careful of these projects, my friend Jason, because these projects, and what I've realized is people oftentimes get blinded when something pumps. I think it's not going to be on here, but I know which project you're talking about. There's a picture with a cat. People oftentimes get blinded by the pumps. So when you get a narrative takes off, you're going to see random shit coins pump. And guess what happens to them after when the narrative dies? A majority of them are useless. They don't do nothing. They don't have no real products. They just pumped because the narrative was hot or the liquidity was there. So people, like I said, when the narrative takes off, people will look at anything that has an AI agent in the end and they will buy it. But only very few of those projects are legit. Only very few are going to continue to develop throughout the cycle and potentially into the next cycle. And those are the ones you need to buy. And Sentiment AI is not one of those projects. It's just a fucking cat, and it just does what 99% of other coins do. So, in reality, I would not be buying anything that does not have the basics of a docs team. Because when they do rug, who's there to hold, for you guys to hold reliable? There's no one. If the team member does not want to put his face forward, he doesn't give a shit. He'll sell the project, look at it as like a fucking a cash cow. He'll post some random shit on Twitter, but there will be no real developments. You have to find the real projects. Those are the ones that's going to be around for multiple cycles. How's Nye looking now? How's Nye looking now? Nye's looking very good. I'm still accumulating Nye. I did not buy enough when it was fucking around these regions before it had that pump. So I just waited and waited, and it's been a gift to see it back this low down here, bro. I got in here initially, did like a 4, 5, 6x or some shit, and then came back down, and now I'm still accumulating. And the reason is because these guys are still developing. They were releasing a new website. Fetch AI just gave them a shout out, which is always good to see. Our ecosystem continues to evolve with the integration of Nuke AI. They already have a massive ecosystem, which is good to see. They've just updated their roadmap. Looks very bullish. They're going to be building AI agents. They're going to have a new website. And then they're going to have staking as well. I don't think this project has staking at the moment, but look at the new website. It looks pretty clean. So they're going to bring staking. They got a new website. They have their upgraded version of the testnet coming out. Their mainnet will be out soon as well. So overall, it's looking good. Can you check about Snift? Oh yeah, Snift. I've not talked about Snift in a while. You're right. Snift, another project that's been holding up fairly well. If you look at Snift, it has not moved an inch for the last day, bro. It's just been stuck in the same region the last 7 days. It had a little dump. I know for a fact it was probably people that maybe in my group, maybe you guys that dumped this project. Otherwise, it would have held on its own. But Snift is another project, and when it comes to low caps, that's holding up really, really well compared to the majority of the markets. When you look at Binance Daily, they always talk about Snift as one of their top projects. Noticeable social projects on BNB, Snift is on there. And you look at the developments, they're forming partnerships, they're developing. This AI agent gaming narrative will take off. They've just partnered with these guys. These guys are partnered with Nvidia, Solana, BNB chain. So they're well connected within the BNB. They've obviously gone to the Chinese, Hong Kong fucking consensus shit, which a lot of the AI projects went to. So these guys are still working. I'm still very bullish. This is an update. They had the DeepSeek model integrated. They added some more partnerships. They added Snift as a payment, actually, so that brings more utility. They upgraded their agent kit, and they're going to be trying to do metaverse AI, which is a unique concept in its own. According to DeFi Llama, the BNB AI agents. Fuck is this? It all starts with video. Heard teams making a new video tour on AI agents and BNB. Good to see. Maybe Sniff will be in that shit. But I'm very bullish on this, and I'm still buying this. Do you listen to while driving? Was planning to retire, but I've put down. Jimmy, you will still retire, bro. Do not worry, you will still retire. Well, I think everyone had retirements 2 months ago, and now everyone's just fucking reconsidering their life. But these 30% dumps are normal. It happened in 2021. It happened in 2017. There's nothing to worry about. Like I said, as long as we are above this region, Bitcoins is just having a normal, healthy correction. Just think of it as like the August crash. It will recover within a day or two. Anyways, guys, 1 hour 40, way too long, bro. Appreciate every single one of you that came down. Drop a like on your way out if you haven't already done so. I will see you guys. Oh, yeah, you'll definitely make a 10x, bro. You'll definitely make a 10x, especially when QT ends, bro. You have a very nice, sustainable pump. But yeah, thank you guys for coming out today. Drop a like on your way out. There's nothing to be concerned about. Just watch the stream back if you need to. As long as we are above this region, we are fine. If we maybe wick down and then go back up, is also fine. Only time I would be concerned if we come down off this trend line, get rejected off 73k, and then obviously then the only case is we go back lower, and then we go back into a bear market. So, and that would be a left translated cycle. As long as that doesn't happen and Bitcoin can hold somewhere around here, then ultimately we are fine. We're doing just fine. But and this is another thing, right? It would be the first time in history where retail investors have got it right, and they've called the top over here or over here, while institutional investors are holding, accumulating. It would be the first time in history where smart money loses and retards win. So that's the way you have to look at it. Are the retards winning, or do you think the smart money is going to win? And I do think the retards are going to lose, and I think smart money will win, and we are playing the same role as smart money at the moment because we're not selling. It would be funny though. It would actually be funny if retail investors got it right and fucking Joe on Twitter with fucking 15 followers, 2 years on Twitter is saying the top is in, while institutional investors continue to accumulate slowly or hold their bags. But anyways, guys, thank you guys for coming down. I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.